Your skull mount is an investment. If you recently picked up your Euro from the taxidermist, you need a bracket that'll protect your mount from a tragic accident. I know my wife and I have had some recent and not so recent close calls, almost knocking Euro mounts off the wall. But with dead on display skull brackets, I've never had to worry about them coming off the wall. I even have an elk skull on it. It's about 30 pounds and it's done its job, even during any house projects, bumping it with a ladder, hitting it with a dusting broom, any of those kind of things. The dead on display skull brackets are secure, reliable, and you should pick one up today. Check them out, deadondisplay.com. Bird Dog Custom Woodwork is a company that was designed by one of my friends and his buddy. They have uplands and bird dogs on the brain, obviously, thus the name. Their products are built with premium hardwood, built to last. You won't be disappointed. Actually, I just got a pheasant mounting bracket for the tail. I got to take my daughter on her first pheasant hunt this year, and she wasn't the shooter, but we got to shoot a rooster together, and that plaque is going to be a memory that lasts for a long time, and it's pretty cool, and it's something that I'll always remember. Lastly, check out Jay Miller Custom Calls. If you didn't hear it, his episode dropped last week. PA turkey season is almost here. And if you need a mouth call to try, or you just need a new sound because it's what you got's not working for you, go check out jmillercustomcalls.com. They're awesome. They sound great, and turkeys love them. So, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. You're listening to InCamp Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Hepler. On this show, we talk all hunting, all fishing, and all the hard-earned lessons that keep us coming back season after season. And this gal on this episode knows how to work. She is from Pennsylvania. She's no stranger to the whitetail wood. She's no stranger to a saddle. She's no stranger to some Western hunting here and there. And she really works her tail off when it comes to a healthy lifestyle. So tune in to hear Miss Jaylyn Luciano on this week's episode. There's a lot of cool stories in here and a lot of things to keep you motivated all summer long. Thanks for listening. This is InCamp Podcast. We have the in common thing that we both reside in the great state of Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania is a sleeper state, or it's getting to that status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why do you think so?
The older I get, I think it's like I took it for granted, and now I'm like, this state is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think the land management has been a lot better with the clear cuts and the burns that we've been doing, and I just think there's definitely a way better age class than when we grew up, But I always tell people this, and they never believe me. Do you fall in that same boat?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you start by just telling the listeners who you are?
So I grew up in Central PA. Jake and I had moved 2 years ago. We're just about like an hour and a half from my family, but still in PA. I'm almost 30. Next month I'll be 30. So hanging on to my 20s as long as I can. Oh geez. It's creeping up. It's like that. You feel it when you're almost 30. It catches up to you quick.
Yeah, I'll be almost 40 and I feel it. So
Yep. Yeah, but I graduated college to be a teacher, and I have a huge passion to teach. I'm certified pre-K to 4, but it's just not the lifestyle. Schools are hard. And I put a lot of my heart into teaching, and just this day and age, it's really hard, and it was draining, and I was not myself anymore. And I was like, okay, now what? And so fast forward, I do a couple different things. I am a personal trainer. I sell insurance, and then I work alongside Jake, who owns a media business, and help him with some photography stuff, content shoots, social media marketing, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I've been hunting we're just going to say for 3 years. I grew up hunting with my dad, but I didn't really learn anything. I was just kind of there, didn't know what was going on, didn't know what we were doing, why we were doing it. He was your typical, he works Monday through Friday. So we went out Saturday morning, and that was usually it. So I got away from it. I played sports, and then I met Jake, and the rest is history. And now I'm hunting every day of my life.
Very cool. At least there was some kind of intro to it. You know what I mean? Hunting, I talk about this a lot on this podcast. Hunting as an adult for people, I grew up hunting and are like involved in it. So you kind of like learn all the little things, like all the rules that go with it and, you know, things about the different animals. But coming into hunting from 3 years ago, how far can you measure how far you've come? Because I bet you it's pretty crazy.
So honestly, I like that question because whenever I first started hunting 3 years ago, I did not have a full-time job,
Hmm.
so I made leaps and bounds well beyond people who did work a full-time job because obviously your time's gonna be limited.
Yeah.
So and then 3 years ago, I mean, this was the first year Pennsylvania got Sunday hunting, and so if you do have a full-time job, you just got that one day. You have Saturday and that's it.
Hmm.
And so when I started, I was just substitute teaching. And I that was like a pick and choose. I could work if I wanted. I didn't have to. Jobs, they need teachers every day in every school.
Yeah.
And I just worked after hunting season. So I pretty much just took off all hunting season. I was doing online personal training then too. So that was kind of a way to balance that out. Um, but this year, I started the insurance gig and our busy season is during hunting season. So that was a
Oh,
huge switch for me, and that's what really put it into perspective of how much I learned the last 2 years being able to hunt more than just weekends, because this year it was maybe I got lucky if I got a day during the week, but it was really just Saturdays, and it was awesome that we could hunt Sundays this year. So whenever I think about, like, how much I've learned, it's honestly, I think 3 years in general, if you really want to learn, even if you do have a full-time job, you have time. Get out there off season, during season, after work, before work, like you can make it happen. But I will say I was very blessed the first 2 years to just really take it all in, and I went 100% full force into it.
yeah. And that's honestly, that is just the way to do it because it, I mean, it can just because you shorten that learning curve later on, the things that you pick up on things so much quicker in the woods, and I'm sure that you have. And I think it's really cool that Jake was kind of your start into this. It's my wife doesn't hunt, but she's gone with me, and she's like, honey, it's kind of your thing, and that's fine. It's not that I would never want to learn how to teach her, but we have a daughter. And I'm like, man, if she hunted and I hunted, we'd be in trouble on who's going on the weekend.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
so now I kind of like it's all right because I get all my time. But you know, kind of diving into this, it is definitely a male dominated sport, and I think that it needs to change. Um, I recorded with Tony Peterson not long ago, and we kind of talked about this. He talks about bringing his daughters into this and how women are really going to, and I fully agree with this, kind of launch hunting and outdoors into the next level because if we don't have this, if we don't have this mass group of people surrounding it, it's going to go away. And we need more people. And we need people like you who are doing this kind of stuff and like really into it. Because I don't want to, be like oh, let's talk like segregated or anything like that. But when you think about it, you're probably a lot more independent when you go hunting than you were when you started. But I hate when dudes do that because they also weren't independent when they started. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
How comfortable do you feel because of the time that you took early on in the woods to feel like, hey, I can go do this independently? Because I remember just hunting private land and like having
Mhm.
people around me. I always felt comfortable. And then I kind of started to venture in the public thing,
Yeah.
and it was not comfortable, you know?
So, I mean, I started, like I said, hunting with Jake pretty much 3 years ago. He's not somebody that's gonna be easy on ya.
Yeah, good.
And I honestly, yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way, but he's always done public land. He's just known as the public land hunter around here. And so I don't even know, I think technically I've only hunted public once and it was to get my first turkey, but like, or I'm sorry, private, but public land, like that's what we got into. And it's
Hmm.
like we're not just walking a road and picking a spot. Like, we are miles deep. We are well off the road. And for a long time, it's just like I'm staring at his boots, just like trying to be quiet, like just, looking where I step. I'm not looking around me. I'm not like, it was hard to take it all in at first. And I was just so focused on stay on him, stay quiet, don't lose him. And like that was that. But you do that so often, you get better at it, then you can take more in. And it's just once you get good at how to walk in the woods, then you can take in, the next step of looking for food sources and sign and all the other things. It's something that I didn't do all at once. But I did hunt. I challenged myself to hunt by myself even my first year. It was something that I didn't go far. It was still public, but I went closer. I didn't go
Mhm.
as far as I would have with Jake or anything. And then last year, well, a year and a half ago, where we moved is a disease management area, and I can hunt pretty close to home. So
Mhm.
that was another like, okay, when I go with Jake, I can go further. And I kind of, was just playing with that boundary of like, okay, when I go by myself, I like to go a little bit closer to home or to a different area versus where I go with Jake. This past year, I was like, he would be like, can I go? Can I go with you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, but you're like, you're going to that one spot because it wasn't one of those just like, oh, super quick pop in spots, because when it's public land, like you have to, I don't want to say you have to, but it's, you have to walk further. You have to go further than the next guy. You have to find a spot. Even if the next, like, there are spots that are close that guys overlook.
Mhm.
But so I'm not saying you always have to walk far, but there are certain times where he knows, like, I wouldn't do that without him, and now I'm like, "No, you can't go with me. I'm doing
Yeah.
it by myself." And so him really teaching me, just like I said, it was steps. It was learning how to even walk in the woods, and then it was adding the next of like, "Okay, where do I go? What do I look for?" And now my brain just keeps going, and it's just that addiction of like, but what's over there? But what's over here? Like, I
Ugh.
wanna keep learning, and then it just takes me further and further, and I feel comfortable. I've never really felt uncomfortable on public at all. You do run into guys, but it is what it is, I guess.
I like that. And it's kind of like proving my point because I have two friends that I've recently started in hunting. They've both been on this podcast. And if you want a really good laugh, you should go listen to the one with Dan Marcelin because it's pretty funny. But he grew up in Queens, New York, like concrete
Boy.
everywhere, you know? So hearing your experience and saying that, you know, one of the things he said to me was like, I was just watching the back of your legs while we were walking through the
Yep.
woods and I was terrified, you know, and he's like talking about like, I just had to focus on you so I wouldn't fall over
Yeah.
essentially. And he's growing to that point where he's starting to like look at sign and scout on his own. And he blood trailed the deer this year and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool because it's not different. And that's what I'm making the point is most ladies like you are probably more observant than
Mm.
me, or you know, I know my wife is more observant than me. You know, when we're in the woods, she's like, "Hey, look at that." She might not spot certain things like I do because she's not used to looking for that, but she sees things that are out of place that I might miss and take advantage of, and that's something that kind of all new hunters do. As far uh, as far about like learning about the animals, like the things that you're hunting, turkeys, deer, I know that you've elk hunted.
Mhm.
What was something that shortened your learning curve there?
Um, to be honest, the first thing that comes to my mind is that, like, obviously, there's a lot that Jake has taught me, and there's still a lot that I, like, lean on him for, but when he is there and I thought about this because you brought up the elk hunting, like, I almost just rely on him too much, and that hurts me because I'm an independent person, and I'm not gonna learn unless I go
Mm,
do it, but, of
mm-hmm,
course, there are certain things where you do need that guidance, so that's why I was very adamant, like, once I got used to being in the whitetail woods with him, I was like, "I've got to do this on my own, and I've got to mess up." Like, I
mm-hmm.
know you've taught me this, and I'm probably gonna mess it up a couple times, but that
Yeah.
went for deer hunting, turkey hunting, and, like, the elk hunting because I will just default. and rely on him for a lot, and I'm not thinking through the whole process, and I'm not thinking about the next steps, and I'm not putting the puzzle pieces together. I'm just there.
Yeah.
And so that's part of, something that, like, I feel like hinders me a little bit is, of course, I want him there, and we work well together, and he's taught me a lot, and he still teaches me a lot, but there is that factor of, like, "You know what? I just gotta go on my own. I've gotta screw up. Like, I gotta figure it out on my own."
Yeah, you're gonna have those secret pins that Jake can't know about.
Exactly. Exactly, I'm just trying to hide them.
That's such a good point. I did a little talk the other day, and I said there's really no silver bullet to this. And most of it is you have to go and just like you just said, you have to go mess up on your own.
Yep.
You can learn about buck bedding and learn about all the different sign and why deer do it and you know the patterns that change throughout the year. But until you go out and you see what the people that are talking about are actually talking about, you've
Mhm.
got no clue.
Yep.
And you've got no clue how to mess up. Like, how close can I get before I mess that up? Or if I drop something out of the tree, is that really going to matter? Did I ruin my whole hunt? Probably not. But you don't know that until you do it on your own without somebody instructing you. It's the same thing as when kids grow up is I got to tell my kid to go brush her teeth. Well, eventually life will tell her if the dentist tells her she's got to get a cavity filled, she's probably going to learn real quick that she needs to do that on her own,
Exactly.
So tell me about the learning curve with gear. It seems like, I mean, you've done a really good job at the training thing and that sort of thing. So this stuff is probably easy for you. Was it hard to become a mobile type hunter for you?
It wasn't as far as a physical aspect because I've always just been in the gym and sports and things. And so like climbing trees, walking far, things like that didn't bother me. Um, but I mean it was new and I'm not going to lie, like I learned how to shoot like I've never shot a compound bow before. I got a bow, I got a saddle all in the same year. And then it's the first sit of the year, and I practiced all summer shooting my bow, and I was like, "I'm comfortable in a saddle, I totally got this." And then I never practiced pulling my bow while in the saddle.
Hmm.
And I have a deer standing in front of me, I'm like, "This is it, I'm gonna harvest my first deer with my bow," all this stuff, and I couldn't pull it back because of the angle and everything, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, like, what is happening?" Um, but as far as, just gear in general, like, I never really got comfortable in a tree stand, in, like, hunting a certain way, like, Jake saddle hunted, that's who I was hunting with. I got thrown into saddle hunting, and I'm a little biased, but, like, now I don't even want to go into a tree stand or ladder stand or climber or anything else,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of guys who started there and then went to saddle hunting or still rely on, putting tree stands up. But for me, it's lightweight, I don't have to worry about carrying it in, and then back to what I was saying about how my mind wanders, like, "What's over there?" Like, I don't wanna have to put a bajillion tree stands up because that's what would end up happening is, like, I don't wanna be locked down to one spot. So for me, it just kinda made sense from the get-go of, like, yeah, I need to be a mobile hunter, and just saddle hunting was just the easiest way to do that, and I just adapted. It just definitely was a learning curve.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. I think I've saddle hunted for like 6 years now. So
Mhm.
you've saddle hunted for, quite a bit of time now. So what can you say? You know, we just talked on the learning curve and being a new saddle hunter, but what advantages do you think that it's given you over time? Minus the obvious, like it is easy to go over to the next ridge, but has there been shooting advantages to you? Is there cover advantages to you? What are some of the biggest takeaways from somebody who's saddle hunted for as long as you have that you could say you need to try this if you haven't?
Yeah, so I just never, like, personally felt comfortable pulling my bow back when in, like I said, a tree stand or a ladder stand. And the shot opportunities and just how comfortable and natural it feels when you're in a saddle, being able to shoot the whole way around the tree, being able to turn around, being super secure, like, I just felt way more I just felt safer. to at the end of
Mhm.
the day, I felt safer, and that in itself gives you enough confidence to be like, "Yeah, I can shoot no matter where they come from." And
Mhm.
then as far as cover goes, that's, like, one of my favorite things is, like, just being able to be like there was one spot I found in the rut this year that I was, like, 3 days late, so I'm keeping it in the back of my mind for next year. It's one of my favorite spots. It's beautiful, and it's a great rut spot. But like I said, I found it pretty late, but I still gave it a go this year, but there were, like, no trees to get into, and, I mean, if you had something else other than a saddle, there's no chance that you would get in there, and it's one of those things where it's like, you don't have to get very high, you just need cover, and I tucked myself into this little pine tree, and I made it work, and while I didn't harvest anything in that area, like, I had a lot of great sits, I had a bear come through, like, I had different just really cool experiences. And then there was a time during late season. I mean, late season, there's no cover. You can see forever. So you
Mhm.
know the deer are gonna see you. And what was really cool is Jake and I were together on that hunt and we just stacked on top of each other instead of, normally we're across from each other or just catty corner. We stacked straight up and down, blended in right with the tree. We had I think over 30 does come in that night, just none were close enough. The only ones that were close enough were behind us, and Jake's trying to turn around to get a shot, and I'm, like, filming with the camera like this, like, not moving, not turning around. But just the different scenarios that you can get in, like, the opportunities are almost endless. Like, there's almost, like it's just there's never gonna be a spot where it's like, "Nope, I can't make this work." Like, you probably can, you just have to
Mhm.
get creative with it, and that's kinda why I like it too.
Yeah, I love it. So, talking about your growth in deer hunting, there's always some kind like there's people that say, "Oh, I'm a scrape hunter. I hunt rut funnels. I hunt rub lines." What do you think you're becoming in the whitetail woods?
It's funny you ask because Jake and I were just looking at our Spartan Forge pins, talking about some turkey hunting stuff, and he just looks and was like, "Why do you have so many pins?" And I'm like, "Honestly, I still am trying to learn as much as I can. I mark everything." And when I say everything, I mean everything. And it does get a little obnoxious, but I try to keep it organized and it teaches me a lot. It helps me e-scout maybe another area whenever I'm looking and learning in that type of, in that scenario. But honestly, I've I don't know where I'm headed. The pattern where looking back over the last 3 years is I definitely I tend to go towards scrapes for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, that's something that I don't think I like realize until you think about it. And in the moment, I don't realize I'm doing that because my brain is just on everything. So honestly, I don't know if I'm like I don't know. Like I said, I mark everything.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying
Well, I
to
mean,
figure that out.
that is that's very good growth because when you hone in on something that just a single thing and you're like, I do only this, you lose a lot of opportunity. And then I think that it takes away from in-season scouting. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's gonna constantly change, like, you can't just say you're hunting one thing because that's
Mhm.
I don't know, it's just not how it works.
Yeah. You definitely need to take it all into consideration, and I think that it does kind of ruin the observation. There are things that are advantages to scrapes, but, like, how can you sweeten it, right?
Mhm.
If you're looking like, let's say that maybe you do lean towards scrapes. What makes that scrape a little sweeter to you?
Honestly, what makes it sweeter to me is looking around it, seeing what else is around, what other signs are around, and, I mean, along with just looking for deer sign and figuring out where to hunt, like, I mean, public land, you're gonna have to figure out, like, maybe you really like this area, but then 2 guys just blew right through it. That happened to me early season. I'm like, "What?" Like, at the most random time, walking in jeans with their bow, I'm just kinda like, "You're walking at the worst possible time."
It never
So, I mean
fails.
yeah, I was gonna say public land, you do have to keep people in mind too. But honestly, if I'm looking at a scrape, I'm looking at everything else around it, not just the scrape.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I found like a scrape that's near a water source for me has been like something that's usually a
Mhm.
pretty hot thing, whether it's a water hole and it's hot out or if it's moving water and they got to cross a creek or something like that. Um, Why don't you give me an example of one of your favorite experiences where you did your homework, you did your e-scouting, and you just had one incredible hunt?
Hmm. I'm gonna go with the day that this was when we first moved to where we're at now. It was a new area, and oddly enough, to make a long story short, this area you have to get permission to hunt because it's one of the disease management areas. Jake
Uh-huh.
was not able to he was not eligible to hunt this the first year. Um, and so I was unless he just came with me for fun, I was on my own, and I kinda used that as my excuse of, like, "Nah, just don't come with me." So I was doing all the work, like you said, I was doing all my homework, I was really, like, e-scouting, trying to figure it out, put the pieces together, put some boots on the ground, and I found this scrape, and it was off this ridge, and I was like, "Okay." I put a camera there, and it was, like, very religiously, this buck would walk up the ridge, go to the scrape, cross the road, and then go up the other side. And so I was like, "I got this buck, like, down to a T." So I was like, "This is mine, like, I've never done this before, like, I got it." And so every day it's like, "Okay, like, he's gonna be there, I know he's gonna be there." So I go out the one day, and it's in the middle of the rut, and it's really slow, and I was like, "Okay, this is not normal." Like, normally there's, like, some sort of movement around. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing. So I start grunting. And I'd say 2 to 3 minutes later, he comes running up, same way he comes, across like, up the ridge, across, to the scrape, and then all of a sudden he stops and just gets this weird look, and I'm, like, waiting for him because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, cross the road and go up like you always do, and you're gonna go perfectly broadside, like, probably 12 yards in front of me, like, perfect." Out of nowhere, he just bolts. I'm full draw, by the way, like, I'm full
Mm-hmm.
draw, trees right here, and he just bolts to the base of my tree.
Oh
And I'm
no.
like but on the other side too, and I was like, "Wait." It threw me off so much, and I was like, "What the heck?" So then he stopped, and by the time I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna go for it." So I let down, turn around, full draw again, but he was running too fast that I didn't feel comfortable to take the shot. But
Yeah.
even though that didn't end up in a harvest, I was like, I still put all the pieces together. I was there, I knew he'd be there. Wild stuff happens in the rut sometimes, and I mean,
Yeah.
I got to grunt him in, like, that was really cool too. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, even though it didn't end up in a harvest, that was one hunt where I'm like, I did all of the e-scouting, the boots on the ground, the work, I knew his patterns, and I was like, "Alright, before he breaks this pattern, I gotta grab him."
Yeah.
And
I mean, in my mind, you won that one.
it
You
was
just
pretty cool.
it's just bad luck that he came
Yeah.
bolting under your tree like that. But in my
Yeah.
mind, you won that one. But I like what you said in the beginning that you knew it was going to happen. It tells me that you're developing a really good gut feeling because that's something that you can't go to the wood. I mean, you can go to the woods and be kind of skeptical of the day, like, but I want to be in the woods anyway.
Right.
But you kind of develop that feeling where like when something's going to happen, you know
You
it.
know?
What can you tell people about when you're scouting or learning a pattern like that? How do you how do you trust that feeling?
Um, in my opinion, you just have to do it more. Go out
Hmm.
more, scout more, look more, and, it's not always 100% gonna be right, but the more you do it, the more you'll get that gut feeling, and then the more you'll trust it. It's just to me, it's consistency.
Yeah,
That's what builds that in my head.
yeah, I agree. So speaking of consistency, you are quite the athlete, from what I understand. Is that right?
I try.
Where did you get your background in fitness?
So I grew up always in sports. Volleyball was like my sport, but I was in swimming, track, cross country. I mean, I was doing volleyball, I think like 4th grade, like little clubs and stuff they had for little kids. I did karate when I was in like kindergarten. Like I was always involved in something. And then I played volleyball for college, while I was in college. And then I graduated and I was like, now what?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I've always been given a workout program. I've always been involved in some sort of coaching or team and fitness in the gym. And at that point in my life, I was really big into just hiking. I wanted to go to national parks and state parks, and I would go to Colorado, visit family, do 14ers. Like, I was just really big
Mm,
into just hiking, and so
yeah.
I kinda made that my identity is, like, just being outside all the time. And I think May this year would be 10 years, I'm pretty sure, 9 or 10 years, I think 10, that I was introduced to an online fitness company where I was basically an affiliate. I, sold their products, used their products, got commission, but I was able to be a coach, which just
Mm,
meant that I was leading, just accountability groups. And it started as I wanted a bunch of women, men and women, who like to hike because that's what I like to do. And then I started teaching full time and I got a lot of teachers involved. So I'd have like teachers all in one group. And then I got into hunting and then then it turned into like I just want to work out and be fit with a bunch of hunters. So it's evolved over the years and then I had left that company and decided to start my own thing, but it's always just been a part of who I was. It's not something that I think about. It's just second nature. I do it just like brushing my teeth. Like that's
yeah.
what fitness is to me.
So to get some ideas from you, what do you think that hunters can do? I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, you don't need to be in shape to kill a whitetail." That's probably true. Um, if you want to go west, you definitely need to be in shape. I don't. There's really no arguing that. You kind of have to be,
Yeah.
and you've been there. But what can you tell somebody who is like, I want to make a change in my life and I need this and I need to start um living a little healthier, eating a little healthier, being a little bit more fit. What's your start?
You've got to start small. It's one of those things where people make resolutions, you see it all the time, it's one of those things where if someone's all in, that's fantastic, but when you go all in, you put so much pressure on yourself, you're changing your entire routine and habits and everything all at once, it's gonna be way harder to sustain that, so I always meet people where they're at and add 1 to 2 habits and then wait a couple weeks and then add some more, and sometimes other ones will just come naturally. Like if you're gonna start, eating more, you might drink more water with your meals or, just different little things and it just all adds up. But my biggest thing is to always start small because you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, makes sense. What about people that are afraid of injury? Do you have any suggestions for people like that?
Um if they're just like if it's something maybe they were injured before and they don't want to do it again, like I guess it just probably depends on like why they're afraid, but it's one of those things where you can't control everything, but, you do what you can. If you have, weaker ankles, you wear ankle braces, or you find something to do, and then you get really intentional. I sprained my ankle pretty bad. I don't know how I didn't break it, but I think 2 years ago, and I didn't go to a doctor or anything for it. I let the swelling go down, and then but I was really intentional with listening to my body and
Mhm.
researching and doing what I could to make it stronger.
Mhm.
And so I think if people maybe people need to learn how to listen to their bodies and what's worth pushing through, what is worth taking rest, or maybe you do have to go to a doctor or something. But also just really educating yourself and learning like what's the injury, what am I truly afraid of, how can I prevent it? And kind of switch that mindset.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. So tell me about fitness when it comes to elk hunting. I know, like, basically for whitetails, it comes down to the hiking aspect
Mhm.
and the carrying weight aspect. I'm sure that. Well, I don't know what you guys do. Like, I'm a quarter it and pack it out kind of person.
Mhm.
So carrying weight on your back, but maybe you drag, which is way harder if you're going to be dragging a deer 3 miles.
Yeah.
There's all those different scenarios. So that kind of stuff is pretty obvious in the whitetail woods. But what about when you're at elevation in the western states? I mean, you can speak to this from a lot of different angles since
Mhm.
you did a lot of hiking out there too.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not from out west with the elevation, I mean, you can get sick from it, and that's something that, like, it's kinda like it is what it is, depending on how severe it is, if you can push through it or not, but that's something that you're not gonna know unless you do it, so unfortunately, some people just have a harder time, and their body's adapting, and it makes them really sick, and that would definitely hinder you from doing a lot of the hikes and hunts and things out there. But honestly, like, yes, it's typical. You're gonna be hiking, you want the hip mobility, you're gonna be, carrying out something heavy, packing out heavy, and all the things. But to be honest, it's not really the physical health, it's the mental health and being able to do something hard and push yourself because it's a cliche saying, but your mind's going to give up before your body does. And so you really have to strengthen your mindset because your body can keep going. It's just hard. So your brain is like, maybe we shouldn't do this. So I would say, like, yes, overall general health, you do have to be pretty fit to go hunt out west, but it's a whole different ballgame when it comes to the mental aspect of it.
Well, what suggestions would you give somebody to make their mental health better? Because I can tell you from deer hunting, it's trying to be patient, right?
Oh
Because
yeah,
in the West, at least you can run after it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Oh
and
yeah.
you gotta work that out for yourself. But what is it for you that keeps you mentally prepped in the woods?
Constantly challenging myself, whether it's in the gym, scouting, in season, no matter what I'm doing, it doesn't have to be like a bigger buck that I'm after. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It doesn't have to be like, "Oh, I have to go out west this year." Like, just whatever your scenario is, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, even in your day-to-day life, you have got to challenge yourself and do those hard things as often as you can, because
Mm-hmm.
then when you're put in scenarios like that, your brain and your body is gonna be like, "I've been here before, so I can do it again." So it's
Mm-hmm.
really just getting uncomfortable. And you have to do it as much as you can wherever you can.
Do you ever work on a reward system? So, like, I have a hard time crossing the mental border if my hands are cold because I let them get way too cold when I was a kid, right? Like
Fair.
purple.
Yeah.
So if my hands are cold, I have a hard time with the mental side of things. Do you have anything like that that keeps you from being mentally prepared? Like for me, like I said, my hands get cold. So is there anything like that for you?
Um, so I would say it comes down to gear at that point. You really wanna be, trustworthy in your gear and confident in your gear. Um, the boots I wear personally, of course, Jake has a media company, we have some partnerships. The boots that I wear, that brand does not have insulated women's boots. And it was my feet, always, and I would
Mm,
be totally fine. I could, sit in a tree and be in the saddle, and I'd be fine except for my feet, and so I'd have to get down and walk, but then that gets into a whole 'nother level, and then that's where it's like that's where my mental health will go down because if I'm cold, it just you spiral from there. And it's like,
mm-hmm,
"I should just get down. I should just go home," and you just wanna throw in the towel. It's not always like, "Oh, I'll just walk around." Like, it's not that easy.
mm-hmm.
Um, but in my opinion, it's worth just trusting your gear and stuff because at the end of the day, that is what's gonna keep you in the field longer. So number 1 would be taking care of your body because that's the most important piece of gear, but then everything else does come into play, and then I think that's something that would help.
Yeah. I uh I'm with you on the uninsulated boot thing, but I like uninsulated boots. I put boot warmers on and throw the
Yeah.
things in there. It's I don't know. I get sweaty feet, I guess. I don't know. But uninsulated boots work for me. What have you done to fix that?
Um, so I have tried, like, the boot warmers and the electric socks. Those are probably what's gotten me through the past couple of years,
Mm,
but they're not something that's long term
hmm.
because they'll die really quickly or, whatever. But honestly, it's just I take into more consideration of where I'm going, where I'm walking, if I'm gonna be there all day, if I'm just doing a morning or evening hunt, and I just take a little bit of more of those aspects into consideration to try and help in any way I can in my scenario if my feet do get cold.
It makes sense. Um, so One thing that I noticed by just, kind of breezing through your social media is you're not just a deer hunter. And I really like that because uh, I think I think the word bow hunter kind of gets misconstrued because most of the time when people say I'm a bow hunter, they're talking about their deer hunter,
Yes.
not necessarily a bow hunter.
Yes.
But you are a well-rounded outdoors woman. And I think that's really cool because you do all different, like you do it all. And that's something that I started this podcast for. I love to deer hunt. It is definitely my favorite, but there is nothing that I won't try. What do
Yes.
you like about being versatile in the outdoors?
Um, the hardest part is sometimes I'll get so excited about something that I'm like, "Ugh, but all my money and time is into deer hunting and I don't wanna take away from it."
Yeah.
But, um, just as simple as, like, I got a little bit more into waterfowl, and then the insurance company I work for is actually called Setter Point because
Okay.
they hunt with setters all the time. And that's what they do, that's what they live, and so I got into that world, and it's just it's so different, and they're like, for example, deer hunting, in my opinion, can get stressful because I put so much time and effort into it, and then I can go for a pheasant hunt, duck hunt, something else, and it's more camaraderie. You're walking around, you're chit-chatting, you're talking, um, and it's just really cool to be able to say, like, "Hey, like, I did this, I tried this." Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try, so I think that aspect of it is, like, really cool, but then, like I said, like, I'll get, like, super excited about maybe it's, like, probably waterfowl, I would say, and then I'm like, "Ugh, I can't, like I don't know, I can't do it all." So there is, like, a
Yeah.
downside to it. Um, but I just think, like, it's just so fun, and you meet so many different people. Like, it's funny to me, like, I see so many deer hunters or turkey hunters, and then I meet someone who's really big into duck hunting but has never shot a turkey, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And so it's just cool, like, you can, so I can get into duck hunting with someone, and then I can show them turkey hunting, and then, we can go experience something new together. Like, it's never ending. Like, you can do so many different things year round. It takes you to different places all around the
Mhm.
world. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I would never say no to any opportunity. It's so fun.
What do you like about hunting behind a dog?
Watching the dog work is like the coolest thing ever.
It's some
I
good therapy.
it is the coolest thing ever. So I personally have a GSP, but he doesn't hunt very hard. So it's different. It's different with him. You go out, you don't have high expectations. It's just like for fun, see what happens. Um, but last year was my first year hunting behind a very serious. No, I can't say that. I hunted with Jake's dog a couple years ago. But his scenario, like we were on public, it was me, Jake, and his dad and his dog. Each of us just got one bird. But last year sticks out in my brain because it was my first setter point hunt or who
Mm.
I work for.
Mhm.
And it was a stocked private field, and so numbers were a lot more, and I watched that dog just get on bird after bird and just do their job, and, like, they were so excited to make their handler happy, and I was just like, "This is amazing." And then what's really cool is last year I hunted behind a GSP, and this year I don't remember the name of the dog. It's a weird name. It's one of those weird names. I don't even know if I can pronounce it right.
Oh, do you know what it starts with?
No. They don't point, though. They, like there's a like,
Okay.
they were just so laid back. I'm like, "Is there a bird? What are they doing? I don't know what's happening." And it was
Yeah.
weird 'cause when I hunted with the GSP the last 2 times I hunted pheasants, it's intense. Like,
Yeah,
you know
GSPs are on crack.
exactly, exactly. So I'm like, this dog, I was like very like it was a learning curve for me.
Mhm.
But it was so cool because I'm like all these different types of setters and pointers and all these dogs, like they have a job and they know exactly what it is. And it is so cool to see them at work. Like I'm just amazed. Like I
Yeah.
would just watch them in awe. And I'm just like, this is the coolest thing ever.
It's one thing to when you go out, do you take your dog scouting with you pretty often?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a built-in buddy when you're scouting.
Yep.
That's one of the best things ever. But there's a lot of times where I'm hunting behind my little dog and I learn something about a deer. either we kick deer out from an area where I'm like, what the heck? Why are there deer there? Or we go past places where there's just intense deer sign where I'm like, wow. Or I see the dog use his nose and I'm like, a deer probably would use its nose that way too. And I learned something about, I think everything, talking on the versatility thing, I think that everything that you can do um, just adds to makes your next experience so much better.
Absolutely.
Give me an example of where something that you did differently in the woods, not whitetail hunting, made you a better whitetail hunter.
Um, I would say I hesitate a lot. Um, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. In volleyball, I would hesitate. Like volleyball was like my sport. I loved it. I put my heart and soul into it growing up in high school, college, and I was very good at it. But even at the collegiate level, I hesitated. Not I got better. It was like it went from all of the time to just sometimes, but it wasn't ever like I always hesitated, and I found
Uh-huh.
myself doing that when hunting. And so you can't hesitate because you don't know what that deer is gonna do. But
Yeah.
hunting, you know, I mean, gun hunting, I would hesitate. But then when you go pheasant hunting or duck hunting or waterfowl or whatever, you can't hesitate. You're just blowing shots. And then that helped me with, okay, yeah, it's different with a hunting whitetail with a bow, but it helped me with that mindset and the reaction of like, just trust yourself and just do it. Like you
Yeah.
just don't hesitate. Like that's worse. Just do it. Just go for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Especially with like obviously with the deer and your rifle hunting, you're gonna like need to check if it's legal, make sure it
Yeah.
doesn't got
Yeah.
spikes or whatever. But once that happens, it's all about zeroing in on like
Hmm.
where's my shot opportunity? It
Yes.
needs to happen. And not like a rush, hurry up and
Right.
shoot,
Yeah.
but like it's go time. And
Hmm.
you're right. And that is something really awesome that hunting small things can teach you because ain't nobody worried about a trophy pheasant. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like there's a bird in the air, it's time to come, it's time to bring that
Exactly.
bird down.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing with a lot of that stuff. It also is for me, it's such a good mental reset when I'm just like
Mhm.
irritated with deer,
Yep.
because bow hunting is frustrating.
Oh, it's taxing.
Yeah. What is something that you do to overcome the frustration part of bow hunting?
Try to get perspective. Sometimes that's talking with a friend because that's something that like I've found, being a woman in this industry and who hunts, there are some people who do it for Instagram likes. And so when you actually get to talk to somebody who is serious about it, whether it's a guy or a girl, but as a female, it's nice to connect with another female. That always
Yeah.
made me feel better because
Yeah.
you're relating on a lot. But yeah, I mean, put the bow down sometimes and go for a duck hunt. Or honestly, the gym is something like for me that I would go do and just be like, you know what? Like, I just need a day or I need a morning or whatever the case may be. And just try to get perspective and just maybe step away from it for a minute.
Yeah. I agree. It is one of those hard things to do, but usually you come back so much stronger.
Mhm.
But you are giving me some pretty cool hope because my daughter also plays volleyball, and she
Nice.
she was in fifth grade. It was the first year she could play. She was in fifth grade, and she also is a little bit of a hesitator when it comes to volleyball. So I'm excited to see her kind of grow in that. But she
Yeah.
said we'll see if it's a thing because she's kind of like in the preteen doesn't like to wake up early thing.
Mhm.
She might go turkey hunting this year. So this would be, I mean, I've taken her hunting. She's been on deer hunts with me. She loves to watch the dog. So I've taken her
Mhm.
pheasant hunting. What is something that you can tell me? Because something that you just said is like, it is kind of, if I'm going to like, I'll bounce hunting ideas off my wife and she knows everything there is because when I wrote, she edited all my articles and she watched all the videos and all that
Awesome.
stuff with me. So she knows almost as much as I like. She probably recite off to you all the things that like, oh yeah, if you're sitting there, you need to sit there on a northwest wind kind of stuff. So, but to me, it is. She would rather me go talk to my hunting buddy about which
Mhm.
wind direction I want to sit on something. But what's something from a female perspective that I could do right if my daughter is going to hunt with me?
Um, just stay positive. I mean, you can be hard on her
Yeah.
and, give her a little tough love, but in a positive way. I think it can be intimidating. It can be a lot to take in. I think that
Hmm.
for anybody, male or female,
Yeah.
but especially as a female and as young as she is and growing up in it, just always make it a positive experience, even when she messes up, because we
Hmm.
all do. Um, and then in my opinion, just from my personal, like, I got into this with Jake in the industry, so I always felt like I had to do certain things and, like, do do things certain ways, just I felt more of a pressure, and so I just say be positive, and, like, obviously, I'm not saying you're gonna put pressure on her, but just, like, keep it very low key, and, like,
Yeah.
the situations will create pressure and adrenaline and all the things, like, naturally, but that's just my biggest thing is always just keeping it pretty light and keeping it as positive as possible.
So at her age, this is what I end up coming up against is like, uh, the waking up early thing is
Yes.
hard. Do you feel that that's something okay to push her on? Because
Mm,
ultimately, she's probably going to drink coffee and be just fine.
yep.
And then there's another thing is like, if we're out for an hour and she's bored, I think to me, I probably was bored at that age too, but it was all right to be bored and it's all right to let your kid be bored. But do you think there's anything to that? Is that something that I need to be cautious of? Or at some point, I just kind of got to be like, no, we're staying for 3 hours and that's just the way it is.
Honestly, yeah, like, I wouldn't make her go all day and, like,
Yeah.
be miserable all day, but I would definitely push it because now you're talking about the aspect part of the teacher in me is gonna come out now because kids are on
Yes.
iPads and phones and social media, and that's just gonna make their attention span in general go down lower, and so it's so good for them to be bored. Even as adults, I'm like, I almost challenge myself, like, every day, do nothing, have
Mm-hmm.
no like, be bored.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get distracted with even with, as we get older, we get more responsibilities, so it's not just social media, it's work and life and all the things, it's like, no, be bored.
Yeah. I like that from a teacher's perspective because you're right. Like the world is pretty noisy and there are a lot of things um that we could do as role models to I'm guilty of it. Like I'll be looking at my phone and she's like,
Mhm.
"Well, you're on your phone."
I
Like
couldn't do it.
and there's those kind of things, but I think it's something that we need to get to is like, hey, just be bored. It's all
Mhm.
right. It's good
Yep.
for your brain. It's
Yeah.
create it, breeds creativity, that kind of thing.
Mhm. And she'll probably get frustrated and not happy about it, but I do think it's something that it's like, just let it happen and push it. Again, maybe not all day, but more than an hour. Find like a little
Yeah.
sweet spot in there.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is turkey hunting closes at noon, so it can't go
It's
that
not an
long.
all day thing. I'm not gonna lie, that's something it's when it's deer season, I get so mad. I'm either, working or in the deer woods, and, like, if something else in between happens, I get mad because 'cause I'm like, "I'm not working and I'm not hunting." Like, those are the 2 things I have to be doing. But in
Yeah.
turkey season, you do get to a little like, you have that balance. You don't even have a choice. So it's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah. It's kind of built in. I'm the same way. Like
Mhm.
I'll get home and I'll like eat lunch from, morning deer hunt. And I'm like, why did I leave? Like I should have just
Yep,
packed lunch. What's
yep.
your problem? In turkey season, you're like, I'm gonna go fish for some crappies. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly what you do.
it's fantastic. So with your role, your previous role as a teacher, you're right. Like the world is a different place and kids and parents especially. Uh I I I work in healthcare, so I know that, younger kids, I don't take care of kids, but younger adults who have parents, their parents are still annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they can be a lot. Um, but what is the type of impact that you want to see happen from what you have decided to do with your life now?
That's a great question. Honestly, like I've said in the beginning, teaching was and is a huge passion for me, but because there are things, that just factor in where it just started to not fit in my life and it was just really changing who I was and it wasn't in a positive way at all. I'm just really trying to take that passion and put it elsewhere. I want to teach, um, when I coach people and have fitness programs and things for them, like I'm teaching them a lot. Like I do it in a coach teacher type of thing. I'm not just like, here you go. Like everything's customized and I'm very one-on-one. And it goes the same way with like I've created a lot of friendships in a little community on my Instagram of women who hunt. And it's like, I want to learn from you. I want to teach you. I want to share experiences. I want to show the next generation and put time into taking kids out. I got to film 2 years ago a youth turkey hunt. I have a friend who I'll get this year to take her son out for the first time. Like all those different types of things. It's like I'm just constantly thinking of like who can I help, who can I teach, who can I but then I also am like, I wanna do that with people. Like I wanna learn from them. I wanna teach them. Like it's just constant in every aspect of my life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time in our crazy world to be an educator and a teacher. I love it. It's awesome. Before we get off of here, I need your favorite story from 2025.
Oh, my favorite story from 2025. Oh gosh. Hmm.
Could be a successful hunt, could be not a successful hunt. What was your favorite?
Oh, why am I thinking so hard about this? Wait a second. I totally thought way too hard and it's so obvious. Okay. Um, I don't know, you might have seen this, you might not have on my Instagram. It was the second to last day of late season in PA, so it was January, like, 22nd or somewhere around there. And Jake and I were taking our bows out, and we were like, "You know what?" Like, it's super cold, like, we weren't really hunting at that point. We wanted to, we had plenty of doe tags, and we
Uh-huh.
both actually ended season with a buck tag still in our pocket. But,
It's the
we
way it
were
goes
just
sometimes.
it goes that way for sure. So we're headed out. We're late. So Jake's not in the greatest mood. I'm just like, "Okay, I just gotta hurry up and get my stuff. I can't dilly-dally, like, I
It's
just
that
gotta be
red
on top
hair.
of it."
That
Yeah,
red
it
hair
must be.
gets him fired
It
up.
must be. So, we get into this spot, we park, he's like we're not even, like, fully ready out of the truck, and we're already walking. So we're juggling GoPro, camera. He's like, "Hold this, take this," and then he's trying to talk to the GoPro. I'm holding the camera, then we switch back and forth. So I have the camera, and we're full board just walking, and I hear something, and we both were like, "What the heck?" It didn't click in my brain. It was just, like, a natural reaction to be like, I, like, kinda, like, gasped. I was like, "What was that?" And then I'm thinking like, "Okay, we're in the woods, there's a buck or something." There were 11 bull elk feeding on the side of a hill 20
Oh,
yards
cool.
from us. It's like we're walking the road and they were just all right here, and I just was like, I don't know what to do." I started freaking out. Well, then I have the camera, so Jake's like, "Start taking pictures and videos," and I'm like, "You're gonna yell at me for doing something wrong," so I'm like, "You take the camera," because
Yeah.
we weren't spooked or anything, so I was like, "You take the camera, we have time, like, you get what footage you need." And I just, like, stood there in awe, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever," like, closest I've ever been to an elk, and they were all pretty freaking big bulls, like, none of them were just spikes or teeny tiny or, like, they were big. Now, we did know they were in the area, we had cameras, but, like, never in a million years did I think that that was gonna happen.
Just bump right into him. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just feeding, and like I said, 11 of them. So, fast forward, and we finally get to the tree, and, like, they did not care. We ended up walking we had to go up where they were, but we ended up walking around them. They stayed where they were, totally fine. Finally get to the tree. Again, we're late, even later because we stopped to look at those bulls, and we're just chilling in the tree. It gets real dark, real gray, and starts snowing, and we're like, "We didn't know it was gonna snow, like, is it gonna snow all night? Like, are we gonna get stuck?" Then out of nowhere, it stops snowing and the sun comes out, and I'm like, "It is, like, magical right now."
Pennsylvania.
It is Pennsylvania. I'm like, "What's happening?" And then another 2 minutes passes, and Jake's like, "There's a bull feeding straight towards us." So, we watched this bull from I mean, I it we were sitting outside of some mountain laurel, so it was kind of hard to see them probably like 60 yards away, but you could see like movement
Hmm.
straight to us 10 yards from our tree. We're deer hunting in a tree in a saddle with our bows. And there is a bull elk, probably the biggest one out of all of them that we just saw 10 yards from our
Oh
tree.
man,
I
that's so
stared at
cool.
us, feeding, walked around our tree. I looked at Jake and I was like, I'm freaking out. And he goes, yeah, you please freak out. Like that is okay.
That's
Um,
so cool.
and we got, all this cool footage and stuff, but that was you what? Like, never in a million
That's
years
a
did
cool
I ever
experience.
think that would happen. So that
Yeah, I love that. That's such a
that
cool
was really
story.
cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. And it's cool that you got like the film and the pictures and the video to remember it
Mhm.
too. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Very
it's pretty
cool.
special.
Well, I have taken up an hour of your time and I so much appreciate you coming on here. Can you tell people where they can find you at and what you want them to follow that's important to you?
Yeah, I would honestly say my Instagram is the most important. I'm not verified on there, so I had to put the little underscores, but it's Jaylyn_Luciano_. And that's primarily where I'm at right now. So
Cool. Well, I will share it in the link in the show notes. Thank you so much.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap in, Camp. Thanks so much for listening to this conversation with Jaylyn. Check her out in the acknowledgments in the show notes. If you would, give me a rating and a review wherever you listen to your podcast. It really helps the show reach more ears, and I so much appreciate you all coming back week after week. I've had so much fun recording this, and I'm going to keep doing it. So if you could, give me that kind of support because it really helps. And again, I couldn't do it without all you. So thank you so much. This is InCamp Podcast.